you tell people about coping with stress? How do you cope with stress?
Honestly,
Go ahead.
I spend lots of time on my farm with my plants and my chickens.
Pause. You heard it. She said chickens. Welcome back to the Wellness Effect, episode 3. I warned you in episode 2 that we were going to have some excitement and new guests. Actually, I'm guessing their studio. But here with me are 2 nurses here at Sagicor Life Inc. We're this tremendous setup. If you haven't come here to see this, you need to visit. I'm not selling anything. But here with me is Nurse Rosanna and Nurse Jessica. I know Rosanna for, I almost wanted to say years, but then that would age both of us. So I'm just going to say I just met her. And we're on the set to discuss healthy interventions. You do not want to miss these, and you might want to take some notes because we're going to go through a few of them. The first we finished in episode 2 speaking about sleep, the importance of sleep. This is something that we kind of pass off as I'll get some rest when I don't have to do anything else, or I can kind of push myself to a limit and the brain will catch up. So here's the myth buster. The brain does not catch up. Sleep is important. Sleep allows our bodies to tone down. It allows our neurological systems to reset. It allows certain hormones to fall overnight. One that's closer to my heart, literally, is cortisol. As cortisol levels fall overnight, allowing our blood pressure to also fall with cortisol. And this is important. Something we refer to in medicine as circadian rhythm, right? And what makes it easy is there is now recommendations from the American Heart Association, Life's Essential 8. Google it now. I see you Googling. Type slowly. Okay, Life's Essential 8, and number 6 is getting healthy sleep, not just sleep, healthy sleep. And healthy sleep is between 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Yeah. So you can't say 2 hours here, then do some more work, then 2 hours. It's 7 to 9 hours sleep. There are ways that you can improve the quality of sleep that you have. We call these things sleep hygiene. So because I am an insomnia, I kind of did a lot of work on this as well. And some of the things you should cut out. So here's one. No caffeine after lunchtime. Have your last caffeinated beverage for lunch. I know you like coffee, have decaf. Okay. Don't have any sports drinks if you're going to the gym in the afternoon because that's going to keep you up because caffeine is a stimulant. Try not to take naps during the day. Keep going. If you're at your desk and you're feeling like you're about to close your eyes, like in a meeting with your boss, not like any bosses at Sagicor, then drink some water, right? Get yourself hydrated and stand. Quite often now, Roseanne, you know, I do standing a lot in my office. We do a lot of office meetings and on Zoom and various platforms. Whenever I'm on camera, like now, except now, I stand. So the standing desk, and I've got a step machine there, and I get moving, get some extra steps in. So that keeps you a lot more alert. Also get some sun. Part of the reason why our sleep pattern is disturbed in the office is because we don't have any sun exposure in the office. So go outside occasionally at your breaks, get some fresh air, get some sun. Don't do this if a hurricane is outside or it's raining, but go outside and get some life there. Be one with nature. But did you know there are actual apps that you can get on your smartphone, including Samsung, on your smartphones where you can download various ways of staying calm. And one such app is the Calm app. Okay. This app allows you to do things like get involved in reminders for meditation, for breathing exercises, and also it helps you to drink more water. So if you're like me, you're usually rushed during the day, you might want to download the Calm app and get yourself reminded when it's time to take a break, right?
Definitely.
Nurses are pretty intense as well, Rosa. I mean, she looks calm here, but she's pretty intense.
Along with your sleep hygiene, it's also important to put away your devices.
Oh, yeah.
Right before you go to bed. Definitely, definitely. So after you've reviewed your Calm app, please remember to put away your devices. Ensure that your room is nice and dark. Remove all the blue light and lighting on the interior also. That also helps you to be calm. Cool clothing. A fan, make sure your AC is blowing, it's set at the right temperature. You're not too warm, you're not too cold. Because more importantly with rest is the quality of sleep that you get. Very, very important.
And the airline industry does a great job at this. They do a lot of things, especially on red-eye flights, to get us to sleep. Now, you may not even realize this, but the cabin lights are dimmed. I don't realize this sometimes because I'm knocked out even without them being dimmed. But the cabin lights are dimmed in order for you to kind of roll down your biological clock, where you start feeling drowsy, you've had your meal, hopefully you've had no alcohol, because many people are drinking alcohol as a nightcap, but alcohol at small doses, and hopefully you're not getting plastered. It's actually a stimulant, right? So you have to drink beyond the 1 or 2 shots for it to cause a sedative effect. So be careful having your nightcap. There are other things like, for instance, an hour before bedtime, stop the television watching and stop all the bright lights. It really does make a huge difference. If you're like me, I get to use the excuse tonight because I'm on call, so I have to keep my phone next to me. I would have done it anyway. But if you can, move it into another room, because you are going to be tempted to look at that WhatsApp or check an email or something like that. And that literally causes an important hormone for sleep, melatonin, not to rise above a certain level. And it stops you from sleeping, right? Even if you're going to the restroom, don't turn the bright light on in the bathroom, right? Make sure you have a dimmer light there just so you can see the bathroom and the toilet bowl. Gents, you know what I'm talking about. Make sure that you can see it clearly, but it's not too bright, right? When you go there. And of course, when you get up at night, don't try to say, I'm just going to go downstairs and get a glass of juice or get something else. Make sure that you go right back to bed and get restful sleep.
Yes, please.
Sleep quality is important. And imagine in the healthcare setting where we are guilty of not sleeping.
Correct.
This is going to be my lawsuit to a hospital near you. We're up for long hours, in bright lights, your whole
shifts.
circadian, nurses especially, you guys are doing shifts.
Shift system.
The
is
shift
rough.
system really does disturb your sleep pattern
Yes.
and puts you at an increased risk, especially for stroke.
Yes.
So what are we going to go to next in terms of sleep? And the next thing we might want to discuss, which comes right with sleep, is diet, right?
Definitely.
Yes.
Diet is, you have to eat to live.
Of course.
You have to
of
sleep
course.
to live as well, but you have to eat to live as well.
Yes.
And diet is something that many of us struggle with. A healthy diet, quite often, or recently, or politicians has been speaking about food security, but more precisely, we probably should be speaking about healthy food security. How to secure healthy products. So, what are your comments on a healthy diet? Take me through breakfast to lunch to dinner.
All right. So,
You can cheat. That's okay.
no, I'm going to be honest.
Okay.
Okay. So, breakfast, lunch, and dinner are all 3 important meals we should have.
Yeah.
There are some persons who are so busy on mornings, they kind of skip breakfast.
Guilty.
Run to the door.
And run to the door.
'cause,
But
they have
breakfast
to
is
get
a
to work.
very important meal because it
It
sets
is.
the tone for your
the day.
day and for you to maintain your energy levels.
Get your metabolic rate up.
Exactly. Now, as we discuss diet, I always say sometimes what we eat is just as important as how much we eat and how our meals are prepared. All 3 are very important because we can eat lots of healthy things, but if we eat too big of a portion size, we still run ourselves in trouble. So as it relates to our diet, healthy meals, make sure you get your fiber in, you get your fruits and your vegetables in,
Right.
you get your lean proteins in. You try to cut out all those sugar sweetened beverages and foods, especially those processed foods too, that also has a lot of sodium
Right.
and saturated fats. And you try to get in more of your fiber, you balance your starches. And I'm a country girl, so I love my ground provisions.
I love
Right.
mine too.
Yes, please.
I'm just not going to dig for it though.
No.
Yeah.
I would dig
But I will
also.
cook and
That's
I will
quite
eat it.
fine.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I would grow and I
You're
would
a
dig
country girl
them.
as well?
No, but I love my ground provisions and
Okay.
those sort of things. That's what I grew up on, so that is what really satisfies me.
Do you prepare meals at home, or do you...
I prepare 90% of my
90%
meals.
of
She
your
does.
meals. Okay,
She's
so you
very
send
I
me your
have my
thing when
lunch.
this
I have
program
my
is
lunch
over.
bag. I bring to work my lunch bag every day.
Right.
She laughs at me because she's like, "Why is your lunch bag so big?" But I have my breakfast, my lunch. I have my snack.
And your
I have my
snacks.
water. I have a juice if I may, want it throughout the day, because every day is different again. So a lot of my colleagues may look at me and say, well, Jess, your lunch bag is huge. But for me, it's like, okay,
you get very healthy options.
If I'm stuck at work as well, for whatever the reason, it eliminates me going out to the vans or anyone
I'm
selling
purchasing
food.
ultra-processed foods.
Exactly.
Not that I'm saying anything outside of Sagicor.
Exactly. So for me, it's like I know what I am preparing.
Right.
So it's more healthier for me.
Yeah. So I mean, something that caught my attention recently in the news, I think it was on CNN, was speaking about really focusing on your meal. I think this was by one of the CNN health reporters, focusing not just on just getting the food consumed, but how you consume it. Yeah. Taking time to chew your food and to eat slowly because it does take your brain a lag time to recognize when you're actually full. By which time you've overeaten, right?
Of course.
So eat slowly, chew your food. Chewing your food is also important to release some nutrients so that digestion gets started in your mouth. And as we know, some enzymes are produced in your saliva that actually starts the breakdown of food. So it's not important to just have a mouthful of really hot food and get it down your throat as quickly as possible. Mm-hmm. That defeats the purpose. And also, enjoy your meal.
Definitely.
Talk
That's
during
the importance
lunchtime.
of a lunchtime.
Have your lunchtime and talk with your work colleagues. If you don't like your work colleagues,
and it's more
not like here, but outside, talk with someone.
And it's more like mindful eating.
Mindful, I like that.
Yeah, it's really mindful eating.
Mindful eating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get away from the desk, get away from the computer, the phone.
Get away from the phone.
Go outside in the garden and sit and have your lunch.
Yeah.
It's you get the relaxation. You get time away from your work. You get your downtime. Although you're at work, you still get a bit of a downtime.
And if you set your cam up around lunchtime, you get your reminder at lunchtime so you can do your deep breathing.
Definitely.
Not when you're chewing your salad, but you can do your deep breathing and get that relaxation in as well, right?
Yes.
So diet is important. And I just wondered, because I know that there are at least 3 grandmothers out there looking and saying, what do you mean by lean and protein and all that? So what does the plate look like?
All right. So generally, our plate doesn't look like how a plate should look like. So if we have our plate, typically our diet, we have lots of carbohydrates and starches, a little sprig of something resembling some sort of vegetable. Some sort of vegetable or something.
If you remember.
Yeah. And then we have almost like a double portion size of
meat.
Yeah.
Because we're chicken holics. Yeah. Yeah. And it's so not healthy. I mean, I'll use an example. Today I was at lunch at a cafe that will remain nameless, but in Warrens. And I was there and the meal came out, and I was so impressed on the fact that half of the plate was vegetables, right? And then the chef said to me, yeah, we knew you were complaining about all the carbs, so we cut your rice up. But anyway, so half the plate was vegetables and just 1 scoop of rice. And then, of course, what meat did I have? Chicken or something like that, right? And I made sure before the meal to have a glass of water.
Okay,
So I had my glass of water, sat down, relaxed, kind of resisted the temptation to look at my phone. I might have looked at it about twice, but prepared myself for the meal. Sat down, chewed, and for those of you who are like me, you rush, time yourself. Don't rush lunch. So set aside a time for lunch and really enjoy your meal.
Yeah. Mindful eating again.
Mindful eating, yeah. So sleep, diet. You mentioned ultra-processed foods in diet. I just want to stick a pin there because many people out there don't realize that ultra-processed foods are independent risk factors for cardiovascular diseases and cancers. So even if you ate 2,000 calories of non-processed foods and 2,000 calories of ultra-processed foods, the ultra-processed foods are causing this whole tsunami of inflammatory markers. So it's building up inflammation in your body that's causing irreversible damage to your arteries. So it's not just about getting quick foods because you're sticking within a calorie range. And then, of course, with all the calories comes
exercise.
Say it softly. Exercise. Yeah, getting moving. And everyone kind of cringes at exercise except Sagicor staff because you guys exercise a lot here. But
it's moving. We move a lot.
Moving is important. So one of my colleagues in academia actually said that sitting is the new tobacco. Just imagine that the risk from just being sedentary is equivalent if you're out there smoking cigarettes. So get moving. And we have these great devices now. your cell phones, your
Set your
your-
reminders.
set your reminders. There is
Sometimes
actually
you don't have to set your reminders. Your watch actually buzzed as it did to me 4 times today.
the Somo ring. Is they
and
called
said-
Somo rings?
I'm not sure.
Those rings that you have to complete. Are you?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So mine would buzz and say it's time to move.
It's time to move.
So you stretch, you get up and take a walk, something, but it vibrates for you to feel
and it reminds
say,
you, right?
Get up.
So you know. And there's this app. I'm going to show you this. I'm not going to show you my steps today, but I'm going to show you the app that you can join with other friends and colleagues. So this is what it kind of looks like. Do not zoom in on my count. But you can see how your other colleagues are doing in terms of their steps with yours. It gets so competitive. You know, academia, very competitive. And you can send people nudges. It's called Step Up.
Okay.
It's in the iStore and whatever other stores are available for other phones. And you can actually enter what your fitness goals are, right? And on mornings, I know some of my colleagues are cheating. I see you. You get up on mornings and they really front load it. So they do some kind of intense exercise to get the steps up. Because it's intimidating. Then when I get up, I realize, what? I'm 4,000 steps behind. So then you have
Try to catch
so it
up
really
moving.
does motivate you. And what you can do, you can compare. So various sections of Sagicor can say, because you can get your team counts.
Okay.
So is this team more counts than the next team?
Yeah.
It's really important, and we've made some light sport of it, but moving is very important. And what we now know is that it's not only getting to like 10,000 steps, but as little as 2,700 steps makes a difference in cardiovascular risk. So we should say to all of our patients, just move as much as you can. Park far from the door. You know, don't take the lift, take the stairs, and get moving.
But sometimes persons think exercise is going to the gym, lifting all the weights.
Yeah.
You know, I need to go to the Pilates class. I need to do this. I need to do that. But one of the things we emphasize when we go and speak to persons is, what do you like to do that makes you want to do it?
Besides eating.
Yes, besides eating. So this would be, what exercise do you like to do?
Our physical activity.
Physical activity.
Exercise
Because some
intimidates
persons. Yes. So some persons might like dancing. Some person might like walking. Some might like even swimming or even playing a
Walking
sport.
the dog, running the dog.
Running behind the dog too.
Yeah, there you go.
So it, personal choice. By the end of the day, you find what you like to do because you're more inclined to do that. If you just stay home and say, okay, I'll do it tomorrow and tomorrow, and also having a partner to help encourage you. So the good thing about your app is
You have a virtual partner.
you have a virtual partner.
A
And when
virtual
you look
team.
at those numbers, it's
Cheating,
like,
but yeah.
it's like, I need to get up and I need to
It's a
beat this
motivator.
person. So, it gives you that.
So I actually didn't think the app would work, and I thought, oh, I'm just going to join but then I recognized at about 7 in the morning, looking at the app, thinking, how is it possible you could have all these steps? I'm going to get up, go outside and run. I do something, right? Because it's important. We hope that you get moving during the break. We will be right back for the Wellness Effect, episode 3, looking at the life's essential 8, at least some of them. So far, we've only touched on sleep, diet, and movement. Maybe we have a lot to cover when we get back. See you soon.
Check for pulse.
So welcome back on the set where, believe it or not, we have been speaking about poultry and relieving stress. I know you think there's no connection, but we'll get into it. So now that you've had your steps and you've considered sleeping better, and including no caffeine, after midday, getting that healthy diet with half the plate that looks colorful and not just a slither of green, right? We now move into stress, which we're going to say quite literally is killing all of us at a younger age. We are a stressed out community. We live in stressed out lives. We have stressed out workplaces, except this one. And we also don't de-stress enough either. And all this was made a lot worse a few years ago during the pandemic, where we were then in isolation, where the support structures were missing or absent. What do you tell people about coping with stress? How do you cope with stress?
Honestly,
Go ahead.
I spend lots of time on my farm with my plants and my chickens.
Pause. You heard it. She said chickens. Go ahead.
I did. But honestly, though,
Yeah.
coping with stress, it depends on what kind of stress are we talking about. Are we talking about the good stress, which is eustress? Or are we talking about the bad stress, which is distress? So we have to identify which stress we're talking about, because what might be stressful for me may not be stressful for someone else.
Chickens stress me out, by the way.
No, I love them. I love them. I talk to them. I play with them.
Okay.
It brings joy
She's
to
gonna
my
have a
heart.
moment now. Okay.
Yes, it touches my heart.
I'm moving over here.
So, stress relieving activities.
Right.
I find deep breathing works really good for me. If I'm having a really stressful day, I just tune out a bit and I do my deep breathing exercises. I take a walk around the building. I may go to the back of the garden. I get up, I go say hi to some of my colleagues. We have a laugh, we have a little chit chat. I get my water and I go back to my desk. I find that does
It
it for me.
recharges you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find that does it for me when I'm in the office. At home now, that's another story. That's just balancing everything. So
Yeah.
everyone has their own thing. Mine is my farm. That's where I get my outlet to do my disconnect and my de-stressing, connecting with nature, animals.
So you're a nature person.
Very much so.
What about you, Jessica? Do you have chickens as well?
No, I do not.
Turkeys?
No, I
Any
do
feathered
not.
friends? Okay, go ahead.
No, please. So for me, when I'm at work, I do some of the similar things. If it is one of those rough days, I do my wusa.
You do wusa?
Yeah.
You break anything?
No, I do
Okay.
not. The same deep breathing
Deep breathing.
exercises.
Definitely.
Take a minute, take a step back, and come down.
And
And
come
then go again. One of the other things I would do sometimes is take a walk around, check on some of my colleagues, see what's going on again, have a little chit chat, a little laugh, go back to my desk. When I'm at home now and I'm hopefully relaxing, I would like to go to the beach. I sometimes don't go in the water, but I just go to the beach and sit down and just stare at the water. That
Yeah,
helps.
that's therapeutic.
That helps a lot.
Yeah.
I love to listen to music. That's one of
What
my
kind of music do you listen to?
some of everything.
Everything.
I don't really have
She'll
a
tell me
specific.
off camera, don't worry.
I don't have anything specific, but
Right.
sometimes on those rough days, for some weird reason, what tends to happen is, depending on my mood, something ends up playing on the radio that matches that. So then it helps.
Yeah.
I love journaling. One of the things I picked up.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, that's one of
And that
my.
relieves stress? Good.
Yes, it does. It really, really does.
Yeah.
Journaling is something I picked up about 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I find it works wonders for me. So I encourage persons, find different outlets to help you stress relieve.
Whatever works for you, right? Because
Yeah.
it's your stress,
Yeah.
which may be good for you or bad for someone else, right? So it
Yes.
depends. I mean, when I'm stressed at work, which is always, so when I'm in the academic space, because I can't obviously do this in the hospital, I blast the music in my office. Sorry, workmates, I know you're complaining. Especially this, we're coming into the carnival season, so I'm probably going to be blasting carnival music in my office and really getting the tempo up. It allows me to get some extra steps in as well, and it allows me to de-stress. But you mentioned the calming effect of the water, but quite often I go to the nearby Pebbles Beach as well, and I have my lunch there because it's near the office and I could just come back there. It's hard to de-stress in a hospital setting, but you do need to take a stress break. And the one thing that I always encourage fellow healthcare workers to do is, when you find yourself in a stressful situation, which can happen quite often, after that situation, spend some time calming down. Don't kind of go from one stress into another stress and just keep going. So have a break, because stress does add up. It does increase things like our blood pressure. It increases our level of inflammation as well. And that puts us at risk for all sorts of things like diabetes and high cholesterol. Stress also causes us to gain a lot of weight, including because of the fact that when we're stressed, our body kind of wants us to produce these things called endorphins. And you can get those from exercise, for instance, but you can also get them from eating unhealthy stuff. Like you feel good eating lots of chocolates and you get the release. I see you
hope
smiling.
it's dark chocolate.
Yes.
70%.
I'm not specifying, what's tomorrow. So anyway, so any types of chocolate, and you get this endorphin rush, and that makes you feel better, so you eat more.
Yes.
And of course, weight then becomes an issue. And of course, stress disrupts your sleep because you're worrying at night and you never get to really simmer down. So stress is pretty important as a risk factor. We don't pay enough attention to it.
And like anything else, especially anything that causes inflammation in our arteries, and that irritation on the lining of our arteries then sets the tone for how rapid atherosclerosis then sets in. And then that leads to cardiovascular disease. And people don't understand the connect between how could stress destroy my heart. They can't make the connection.
Definite connection. And as we're speaking about emotional health as well, one thing that has come up a lot in the literature recently, especially in women, that we should be screening for a lot more is depression. So in primary care, if you're over the age of, say, 40, your healthcare provider should be having a discussion with you about depression and not just saying to you, are you depressed? There are objective measures. There's one questionnaire used in the office that you probably heard the PHQ-9 score. And these are objective measurements for people coming into the office who don't look depressed at all. You do the PHQ-9 score and they're actually clinically at very high risk. It's time to not say just go home and relax, but refer to a professional and get professional help as well, because depression is also linked to NCDs and NCD risk. When you're depressed, you're less likely to comply or adhere to a medication regime, you're less likely to exercise, all those different things. So bringing in the mental health aspect there is pretty important as well.
Yeah, and managing depression also help you to, cope with your day-to-day activities and making sure that you do your activities of daily living. You still have your obligations to your family, your children, and your job.
And your chickens.
So you have to make sure, of course, your chickens, first and foremost, the chickens.
Yeah.
And you also have the obligation to do better for yourself, to manage your mental health and find that balance.
Mental health is something that we often ignore because, like, for instance, we spoke about physical health in episode 2 and chest pain. If someone comes in to Sajma and say, I have some chest pain, you say, oh no, stop whatever you're doing, you need to go to a doctor. We just spoke about the signs of chest pain. But if someone comes and says, I'm not sleeping well, I don't really feel like doing anything at home. Sometimes I feel really down. Like, okay, yeah, good, but we still have a deadline. Get going, kind of thing. So that's the kind of attitude we have to mental health. How many of you, be honest, in the last week have looked at a colleague and who maybe wasn't doing so well and said to them privately, is everything okay with you? We don't. And culturally, we don't as well. When I did my training in the UK, I used to find it quite weird. People coming up to me saying, is everything okay with you? I got that a lot because it was cold. So even your behavioral change in work colleagues, you should pick it up and flag it and just don't let it go kind of unapproached.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. So we have spoken about only some of them, the risk factors for cardiovascular disease. We've spoken about sleep and the importance of good quality, healthy sleep every night, not only on weekends, every night. We've also spoken about the importance of a healthy diet, including the elimination of ultra-processed foods and the fact that your plate should be half colorful. Just remember that, half colorful. And not colorful with any junk food either, but half colorful with fruits and vegetables, right? And we've also spoken about the importance of moving. Every step counts. You can get the Step app. You can do all sorts of other apps to get you motivated. The one that I'm soon trying to get out of the group Step app, what's called Step Up, where people are actively cheating. Getting you moving more during the day. And of course, stress. And again, using technology again to reduce stress. Things like the Calm app, which is available on most platforms, and you can download it. It will send you reminders. You don't have to get the paid version. Get the free version. We are now prescribing Calm, by the way. The medical fraternity is, because we now have data showing that it does reduce stress levels and blood pressure.
That's really
good. That's good to know and getting it out there, because Healthy living is preventive medicine, and health and wellness is really about moving health outside of the medical setting and into the community, including the workplace. So we have made it to the end of the 3rd episode. This is where you applaud. Can't believe they just did that. So episode 3 looked at all these tips to help you really stay on top of your wellness. And with all the talk about food and diet and chickens, we have on the next show one of my good colleagues and friends, Dane Sadler, who is going to be here to talk about food preparation, not just healthy food preparation, but lowering your risk of infections such as gastroenteritis. This is norovirus season. Many of you either are going on cruises, coming from cruises, have family members coming in. This is a viral season where there's a cocktail of viruses, pun intended, coming in with your meal. You don't want to miss this. Food preparation is important. But I'll leave it to the expert, Dane Sadler. So tune in next time, and who knows, we might prepare something for you. Healthy, of course.